What's up, guys? How's it going? So we got an early show today. I'm glad you guys could make it, and hopefully we got some of the Europeans able to watch some Pro Corner today. Today we have another Terran show. We are continuing the Terran week for all you Terran fans. So welcome to episode 30 of ChanmanV's Pro Corner, where pro gamers come and show us how it's done. Today we have guests. Cloud from, let's see, hold on, we have Cloud, and we also have Mihai from Team NrG, and it's a kind of a change of plans because originally I know we had Vile Hash scheduled, but kind of a little scheduling miscommunication between the two of us. So Mihai is nice enough to fill in, and I'm actually really excited to have him on the show too because he's a really good Terran, and that hasn't gotten a lot of attention, and obviously Cloud is a very well-known Terran from Europe that we last saw at Assembly, and he was doing really well. And actually, I saw him in the Master Cup series just a second ago, and I'm really excited to have both of them kind of talk us through some TvP today. We're going to be doing the dual coaching format where each of them walks through a live game, and while the other one kind of looks over the shoulder and comments and critiques. Really, the whole point of it is to really get the two guys collaborating and kind of bouncing ideas off each other and helping each other improve. So, yeah, that's what we're going to be just doing today. I've got a few Protoss guests lined up from various teams too, so it'll be great to kind of get to see those guys play too, and maybe give some attention to some of the teams that you guys might not know. So, why don't we get this started? Let me pull these guys on, and we can see what these guys have been up to and all that good stuff. Hey guys, what's up? You guys there? Ooh, I always leave it on mute. Hey guys, you guys there?
Yeah.
Hey, you guys are on. And I was
Yep.
Hi. So yeah, I was just kind of telling them that I'm really excited about the show and that we're going to be doing TvP and walking through some live games. But I wanted to start off the show by kind of asking you guys what you guys are been up to like the last few weeks, and what your next event will be that you'll be participating in. So why don't we start with you, Cloud?
Okay. Well, my last event was Assembly, where I got like, I don't remember if top 8 or top 16, but I lost 2 mana to 0 after going first in the group stage, so it was my last event. And soon I'm going to Copenhagen Games, and I think DreamHack Open in Stockholm. So yeah, but I think I'm practicing a lot for DreamHack Stockholm overall. Copenhagen Games is gonna be a bit smaller, so
Okay.
yeah, the prize pool is still okay, but yeah, DreamHack is going to be the next big tournament.
Okay, awesome. Any plans to come to an MLG this year?
Yeah, I'm definitely going to.
Okay, awesome.
I I was thinking about coming to the next one, but I don't feel like I think you can improve much more like in the next month. So if I
Okay.
go to an MLG, I really want to do well. That's
Okay.
why.
Awesome. Yeah, MLG and IPL. Are there any IPLs you're going to show up? Maybe come to?
Yeah, perhaps I don't know yet.
Okay.
I just attended every European event, and if I have to go to America, I'd rather go to MLG.
Right. Okay. Awesome. Yeah, it'd be awesome. It'd be great to see you live. Obviously here in the U.S. because definitely have a lot of fans here, so
Yeah,
it
I
would
would
be
love to.
great. Yeah, definitely. Oh, how about you, Mihai? What are you up to, and what's your next event?
Well, I've just, I've been on and off, and this has been my story since the beginning of the game. But recently, I've been playing a lot more than I used to. So, on various accounts across different servers. So I'm playing quite a bit. Learning. Well, actually, Juan used to be my primary mentor. So I've been learning a lot from him in the past few months. Now a bit less because he's in Korea, of course.
Right. And
But
one is for you guys. One is major, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
major.
And
And yeah, well, I've been playing a lot, but no real plans as of yet for events in turn because I just don't have the sponsors right now. I don't have the team that can send me there, but hopefully NrG is gonna be doing a bit better. Maybe look for some sponsors, and besides that, I'm just trying to get really good, and yeah, that's about it.
yeah, for those of you guys who don't know or aren't familiar with Mihai, Mihai actually had a really good run in MLG Dallas. It was Dallas, right? Last year?
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
Dallas.
Dallas. He actually made it to the pool play. So, I know a lot of other folks last year got a lot of attention for making it into the pool play and like in the championship bracket, but for some reason Mihai didn't get as much attention. I don't understand
Well,
why. So
yeah, I
it
had a pretty easy bracket, and then I had a
doesn't
pretty easy pool. But I mean,
doesn't
I
matter.
yeah, true. But
Yeah. So.
it wasn't too deserving. I just kind of got lucky. I didn't practice that much for them, but I didn't really get any good opponents either. So it wasn't too amazing. But yeah, I mean, after that, I basically stopped playing, and of course, Six Jacks disbanded. So
Right.
since I wasn't playing, I couldn't find another team right after that. Like Vibe and DD found, it's Gosu. Then Juan moved on, of course, because he's really good. But I've been kind of, inactive basically for the past couple months.
Cool. Well, hopefully you start playing a lot more, and
Well, yeah,
it'd be great to
I'm
see you
playing
start
now.
playing.
Now I'm
Yeah,
playing,
that's
of
awesome.
course. Yeah,
That's
yeah,
gonna
yeah.
be, yeah, I'm excited to see what will happen when you start playing, a lot more. So that'd be cool.
Yeah, yeah.
But so today we're gonna be focusing on TvP, and again we're gonna have you guys be walking through some live games against some practice players I have lined up for you. And why don't we just get started with that? Why don't we all go in the game? Is that cool? And Carla, we're gonna have you start off. We're gonna have Cloud start off.
Okay, that's good. Do you have my ID?
Yeah,
No,
you don't mind? Can we just join a random
yeah.
channel?
Can you join ChanmanV?
Yeah.
Yeah, a really random channel.
Yeah, the channel.
Yeah.
And see if she's right here. Okay. Is there a particular map you think is really good to go over TvP?
Um, yeah, I think Shakura is the best map so far,
Okay.
and it's like in most map pools. I think Antigua is pretty okay, but overall, I think since the maps are getting bigger
Hmm.
and the expansion is closer, Protoss has an edge in the map pool. So you like most of the times they will just veto Shakuras, and you get to play Antigua. That's the best you can hope for.
I see. Okay. So let's start with Shakuras. And then, hey, Dark Force is in here too. Let's see.
Oh, I think Cloud's using that.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You're using Dark Force's account. You told me that yesterday. Shoot, forgot. Okay, so I got Shu lined up from Team Clash to play against you guys. I think he'll just play each of you guys, and then we'll probably switch up playing partners after that.
Okay, good.
But if he's ready, we'll get started. Let me switch over this. I'll switch this thing over in a second, guys. Here we go. While we're getting started, if you don't mind, kind of, giving us your overview on kind of the TvP metagame and what your thoughts are in general, and what your preferred kind of style is.
Well, basically right now, as you can see from Team Liquid, many Terrans are complaining because TvP, like every Protoss now is just going double forge every game, and they just like slowly build this death ball that they just play very defensive. So it's pretty hard to play against it because you have to micro really well. But I think the Terran still has an edge, like throughout the game. I think actually the match should be always in favor of Terran if Terran is a better player. But still, like if you're not at pro gamer level, it's really hard. So I'm expecting. I mean, I never played him, but I'm expecting some double forge, or perhaps. Well, Protoss has also very strong all-links, like 6 gate is very strong, very dangerous, but also Void Ray is still very good. So yeah, I think that the main point is trying to find out what they do, because when they kill your SCV with the Stalker, then you need a way to scout what it's doing, and that's the most important part of the match. If you can do that and you know what to do, then it's way easier to play everything else.
Right. I see. And Mihai, feel free to chime in anytime you want.
Oh, for sure. No, I agree with a lot of what Cloud's saying. I mean, it's pretty true that Protoss is a very versatile race when it comes to the kind of builds they can choose throughout the game. And, they have really strong all-in builds, they have really strong macro builds. And I think I agree with the fact that, Terran might be the strongest race in this matchup, maybe just in general, but it is really, really hard to play Terran at the level where, it is that strong race. And the amount of control needed to play Terran is, just in general, the skill level required to play Terran is much, much higher than Protoss, especially at the pro gamer level. But,
yeah, it really evens out for pro gamers, but yeah, like for casual players.
Yeah, for casual players even more. Yeah. And but I think Terran has it pretty decent in terms of scouting. I mean, it's hard to scout after your SCV dies, but there's a lot of gas timings you can look for. And you can judge. You can't usually. It's hard to tell exactly what Protoss is doing from what you scout, but you can put him on either all-in or macro builds. And yeah, I mean currently the double forge is really strong because basically Protoss gets the 3-3 really quick, and 3-3 kind of demolishes the Marine DPS versus Zealots, because you really need Marines in this matchup to kill the Protoss ball. But I mean it's hard. The upgrades and the tech switches late game from Colossus to High Templar and vice versa. So you really have to be on top of your scouting, you have to be on top of your macro, and to be on top of your micro. So, as Terran, you basically have to play really solid throughout the game, and it's much more unforgiving. You can get into really bad situations where, force fields just lock you into that position, or you can miss micro against one storm and there goes most of your army.
Right.
So it's hard, but Terran's still a good race, and people shouldn't be quick to say Terran's bad. You just have to play really, really well.
So Cloud, talk to us about the eBay there and how valuable that is.
Okay, I think our Protoss player did a mistake. If they don't make a Zealot before the Stalker, then you can just eBay block. I saw that there was no second gas, so it's most likely expansion. Could also be 4-gate or something like that, but 4-gate is defendable, so...
Right.
Yeah, the other dangerous build I think is also Warp Prism 4-gate. You have to watch out for that.
Yeah, the people like it on this map.
Yeah.
but I think eBay block is always more than worth it if they don't make a Zealot first. So
Okay.
I always suggest to do it.
Upgrade complete.
Yeah.
Okay, so you got that bunker up there, getting a tech lab.
And now Cloud's just playing really standard. 3 racks, double gas. Probably gonna go for medevacs, and once your medevacs are out, that's really when you can start pressuring on the map. And Cloud, what are your how are you gonna scout Protoss this game?
Okay, what I do here,
Yeah.
I just need to find out if he's going to 6 gate or not. So
Yeah.
since I have no way of scouting, I will just scan his expansion, and if I see there's no gas, then it could be 6 gate very well. Or he could also make another expansion, but there's really no solid way to.
That's exactly. So
Is there a certain time that you know when to pop that scan for 6 gate?
well,
Yeah, 8 minutes.
8 minutes.
yeah, 8 minutes. Sometimes I like to vary it. When I scout the Protoss going 1 gate FE, you can scan at 7:30, and that's been working for me across a lot of games. And if they go Nexus first, you can scan as soon as 7 minutes. And against Nexus first, you have to do it really quick because the 6 gate off Nexus first comes really early. But yeah, it's true. You scan for the gas timing, and then right now Cloud just saw the double forge. Pretty
Double
lucky
forge,
there
so.
too. Yep. And no immediate threat, but yeah, you have to be really good with the gas timings to figure out what they're doing. And of course, if they're not going the double gas, it's hard to say. It's hard to tell if they're gonna get the gateways or if they're gonna get the expansion. But you have to try and poke in SCVs. I don't know. That's the hardest part of the matchup, I think, right now. But I think also it's weird. Most of the time when I scan the gases and I see 3 gas, that usually means double forge. But I guess Shu opted to go for a different type of build with the double forge, which is fine.
So explain to me the third, taking the third right now. Is it just
Yeah,
safe?
if you see
feel like
double
it's
forge,
safe?
you can.
Okay.
Yeah, it's safe. Against double forge, you should take the third base as soon as possible.
Okay.
Research add-on.
They really have they have no mobility because they would be very heavy on zealots. So
Okay.
that's what you got to do.
Catching that probe, it's always nice. Checking for a third.
So
Yep.
so now I get map control, and what I do is check for hidden expansions.
It's good that you're checking for any kind of hidden one too in the fourth. I think a lot of people always forget to do that.
Yep.
Right, worker count, okay.
Ready for dust off.
So from an upgrade standpoint, do you feel like you have to be, just as long as you're just even with the Protoss, you're okay, or do you feel like you have to be ahead?
No, actually, I'm going to be behind.
Yeah, with the double
And
forge.
I can't do anything about it.
Right.
But
Yeah.
but it's okay. With good placement and good EMPs, it doesn't matter.
Upgrade.
Okay.
I mean, it does, but it's not game losing.
Yeah, I think you have to be a bit careful though with the upgrades, because obviously Protoss is always going to be ahead of you, but
Yeah.
the only real timing where you can actually be even in upgrades is when you're 2-1 and the Protoss is 2-2, and that's kind of a small timing, but it is a decent timing window to try and make something happen.
Yeah, that was kind of the lead into that question, was whether you kind of base timings off of it.
Yeah, well, you can't skip your upgrades as Terran, that's for sure. You have to always get them, but realistically, you'll never be ahead in upgrades. It's going to be, it's really hard to be ahead in upgrades, and especially if you, an important thing to do in this matchup is to take your third relatively quick, because if you stay on 2 base, like some Terrans play, then your upgrades are going to be even that far behind.
Because of the gas?
Yeah.
Got it.
Because you just don't have enough money to get it.
Okay, it seems like both of you guys are rolling out a little bit here. Running past though. Huh.
And that's a pretty interesting decision.
Yeah.
And he also has the medevacs to get away, so it's not that bad. I mean, obviously Cloud's going to lose a couple units here, but it's all about the damage he can do. And he's going to snipe that pylon.
That was nice.
And that's really big, because if Protoss can't get their upgrades going properly, then, Terran's going to have a pretty good advantage. And here, Cloud's also in a really good position, but of course, Blink kicks in. But I think that was decently worth it, Cloud, don't you think so? You killed a couple units, you slow down the upgrades, you have your third up much faster than him. This is a pretty
No,
good
I
game.
actually think I did pretty bad, but yeah, I need to get used to listening and speaking while playing. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's definitely distracting having to do that.
Well, yeah, it wasn't an optimal trade, but it wasn't too bad. I don't think it wasn't.
yeah, but his army right now is pretty big. If he decides to just attack me, I'm going to be in big trouble. That's what I think anyway. I don't know.
He'll probably wait for Colossi, right? I mean, given that he has the robot.
Not necessarily. I mean, oh yeah, well yeah. Cloud scouted the robo, so
Yeah. I just figured he would wait. I mean, there's no point in pushing out without a Colossi
sure.
if you already have like the robotics facility.
No, for sure. If he played a much heavier gateway style, then yeah, he could have been much more aggressive. But I mean, that's that's what Cloud was talking about. It's the trend nowadays for Protoss. They're playing extremely defensive, and it's fine. I mean, it's really strong and it's really easy to to beat bad Terrans with it. I mean, that's well, not bad Terrans, but you know what I mean. I mean, it's a really strong style. That's it. And after the Colossus come out, they also have the chance to switch to Templar, and then it's really on the Terran to shape his army composition in order to kill the Protoss. It's not really that much the other way around. I mean, yeah, Protoss is gonna tech switch a bit, but it's not in response to what Terran's doing most of the time. Terran really has to be scouting and reacting to the tech switches, and that's probably the hardest part of this matchup.
Base is under attack.
So that okay. Let me see. I'll ask you in a second here.
Ready to blunder. Let's have a blast. Ready to blunder.
So talk to me about this push out right here, Cloud.
Yeah, basically I'm just waiting for a decent Viking count and I'm just taking position, because if he attacks into my units, then I'm going to be in a good position. So that's my plan. And now I also have +2, so it's quite decent.
Upgrade complete.
He has an observer over my army, so I will try to kill it as soon as I can.
What I really enjoy doing is I put a turret where I rally my units, and it kind of limits the Protoss scouting a bit. I mean, you can't really start turreting your whole base like you could, for example, in Brood War, but just a couple turrets here and there.
Yeah, so this is the interesting part of it, like the little.
Okay, now I can two-shot Colossi. So.
Okay, nice.
It's
This is nice timing.
Okay, he's running back.
It's nice timing for engagement.
Yep. The only thing I would have to say is probably before the fight happened, you should have had the Marines behind the Marauders, and that really helps in fighting the Protoss ball. Your Marines are your main damage dealers in this matchup, and the Marauders are there to soak up the damage.
Okay, so took out Colossi.
Mineral field depleted.
I mean, I think this is one of the biggest differences between Korean players and foreigner players in TvP. Is that foreign players really like their Marauders, whereas Koreans play extremely Marine heavy, and Marines do a lot more damage than Marauders do, and I think that's the only thing I would like to discuss with Cloud. Is that, I mean, Cloud's in a really good position right now, but in terms of his army composition, he has 19 Marauders and only a couple Marines, and right now he's producing. I mean, he's still producing Marines, but don't you think maybe making more Marines in this late game scenario is a bit better?
I think in a late game situation, I don't. But even in that kind of engagement, I don't really like to have too many Marines, because I think a good Colossi target and like a good storm can. Marines are just very vulnerable, so most of Marauders are very mobile. You can kite easily, so Marauders are like more micro-intensive. I didn't micro all that much, but yeah, like
yeah. I kind of get it. I mean, I mean, it really just depends on. It really just depends on how fast you take the area effect, like damage away. So if you kill those Colossi quickly, or you kill the High Templar quickly, then yeah, the Marines are awesome. But if you don't, Marines just melt, right? Yeah.
I mean, again, it's that question of you know, what's your army composition based off what the Protoss is doing, you know?
Right.
But I still think this the problem with kiting a lot is that once Protoss has very few, you know, very few Colossus, for example, a lot of Zealots, kiting doesn't become that good because you're missing out on a lot of damage, and a lot of what the Koreans are doing is they're just they start the fight, they kite a bit until, you know, the Colossus are gone, until, you know, they dodge some storms, and then they just sit there and kill their Zealots, and that's, you know, I think that's pretty strong. It's just it's hard to judge when to start kiting and when to stop kiting, you know.
So Cloud, tell me about medevacs. I noticed that, you know, your medevac count is obviously not super high because you've been having to build Vikings.
Mineral field depleted.
I've always felt like medevacs are huge, right, in this matchup. So how do you kind of balance the two? How do you, like, it's hard to balance the two, right? So
I actually don't. I'm not a player that likes medevacs too much.
oh wow, okay.
I usually have like 4 in my army, so.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I think that's fine. 4 to 6 medevacs is probably the optimal number.
Okay.
I think if you build too many, it's just there's just no point, because I mean they can only heal so much in the AOE, and they take a lot of supplies. So then that really diminishes your DPS, you know, capabilities in the late game. And now Carlo's building some Reapers.
Yeah, that's
what's
interesting.
Are you planning to use those to harass, or is that just, you know, miss?
No, Reapers are actually better than Zealots.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
And they have more HP, because when you steam Marines, they have 5 less HP. So
yeah, that's an interesting idea. Yeah. Yeah. Interesting idea.
That's cool. Yeah, I've never heard that. That's pretty neat.
Add-on complete.
Okay, so just both of you guys just really trying to
Mineral field
doing that little dance and trying to position, you know, his army here.
research.
And this is hard. This is where, I mean, if Protoss waits a bit longer, Terran's going to be really far ahead in terms of sacrificing SCVs and just relying on purely mules for economy. That's really when Terran becomes strong late game, is when they don't have that many workers and just, you know, mule their way to minerals, because obviously their army is always going to be bigger. So here, I think, here's where Protoss has to be extremely aggressive, but also Terran has to be really careful not to, you know, lose too many units, because in these late game engagements, it's really easy for Protoss to be extremely cost efficient, and Terran can't reproduce as fast as Protoss, so Terran has to have a really good, you know, battle marker. And yeah, this is a pretty decent position, but I mean, again, I think the Protoss army is a bit strong here, and it's going to be hard for Terran to win. And it's all about, well, Cloud's engaging pretty well, and I think he's playing this really well. And once Terran wins this fight, he'll be in a pretty decent position going to the late game. But again,
yeah, I like how patient you're being. You're being really patient here.
But now all that's left are Marauders, and sure, they can kite the Zealots all day. They just don't do enough damage. And here, Protoss can just keep warping in Zealots, and yeah, it's a pretty difficult situation to be in. But I mean, Cloud still has the bank, so it's not over yet. It's just right now is really the biggest danger for Terran is surviving this, this initial late game engagement. And if Cloud can stay in the game, for another 2-3 minutes, he should be in a pretty commanding position going into a 30-minute game.
Yeah, I should have made planetaries to defend my positions, but
yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
It's okay. You have replaceable orbitals instead. Excuse me. All right. Okay, so talk to me about like just the state of the situation right now. What are you gonna try to? Oh, here we go. He's pushing again. Jeez.
This is pretty scary push, actually.
It's gonna be tough.
It all depends on how he wants to engage.
Upgrade complete.
Oh, you can land some there.
Base is under attack.
Yeah, but again, the problem is Cloud isn't maxed yet, and it's really going to be hard to engage this Protoss ball correctly, because he has a lot of Archons, a lot of Colossus, a lot of Templar, but really good EMPs on high Templar. So right now, it's all about if he can survive these Archons, but it's not looking bright for Terran. and now Cloud's gonna have to deal with his bottom bases being harassed at the same time as his push is going. So it's just yeah.
All right, so that's the first game. Obviously, Cloud is very distracted, and we understand that, and especially the first time you have to talk
Yeah.
and play, it's pretty tough. But I'll tell you what, like one thing I think is good when we're doing this is we should probably limit the talking to a little bit, like a little bit less actually, during the playing, because I know it's really distracting to have to listen and to talk and to play, right? So why don't we put Mihai in this time? We'll do the same map, and we'll get Clash Shu to play again. And then for those viewers just joining in, what we're doing today is we have Cloud and Mihai on today to go over TvP, and we're having them go do a dual coaching format, which is we have them each take turns playing live games while the other kind of comments and critiques. Oh man, what was
Nice.
that?
Nice.
It's League of Legends players.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's new players.
Just damn LOL players, man. Let's see. Okay. So we'll get shoot. Oh yeah, I gotta add drone here. Forgot to add drone. Where is drone? There he is, drone from Team Clash. Drone, I believe, is the Clash owner. So good team.
Yeah.
Clash is
He's
a
a
good
really
team.
cool guy. Yeah, Clash is a really cool team. They're full of pretty mannered Koreans and a pretty troll Korean too.
Nice, man.
Yeah, you know
What's a troll Korean?
no, you know Clash Legal or Legal Mind?
No.
In Brood War, right? There is this show called NBC, TL Attack. I mean, not TL Attack, but Battlenet Attack, whatever. And they had, I forget who, we can go. I forget who they had on there, but a pretty famous player. I think it was Hwashin. And he was playing this Protoss, and this Protoss at the end said sex pussy hair, and like it was like the biggest controversy on that show, and he's on Clash currently. I think. I mean, he might not be playing anymore, but yeah, he's a big troll.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah. I really hope my keyboard won't be too loud. But so on this map, I always open one barracks expand. And is it good? Is it not too bad? I'll try not to play too loudly. Tell me if it's really loud, and I'll just mute it.
Okay.
Or I could just lower my mic and scream while I play.
Yeah, why don't you lower it, because it is kind of loud, and I know viewers don't love the keyboard clicking. Just
Alright, is it better?
yeah, that'd be good. Yeah, that'd be good.
Or a bit more.
No, I think that's good. I don't know. What do you think, Cloud?
Yeah, it's good now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Fine though?
Yeah, I think I can hear you.
Should I raise my voice a bit more?
Yeah, a little bit louder would be good. Yep.
Alright, I'll like scream really loud, but so TvP I always opt to go for the wall in, of course, because it's just there's no reason not to, and it can block a lot of units. A lot of all-ins. It's really just a pretty useful thing to have.
Mm-hmm.
And I always open one Rax Expo, especially on this map.
So, Cloud, like in that last attack that you had with the where you pushed into his base, like I know you stopped the forge from upgrading there, but what did you at the very least want to accomplish with that push?
No, actually, I was just planning to kill a couple probes.
Okay.
But he just ran with his stalkers too far, so I just thought I could kill a couple stalkers and then just fly away with the medivacs. But my control was pretty poor, so I couldn't fly away with medivacs. So any kind of advantage that would have been given to me by killing the stalkers was just nullified by bad control.
Okay. Yeah, I just
So,
kind of
like,
I just wanted to get a sense for what basically what you wanted to achieve there, because obviously didn't get a chance to, and but that's cool. Yeah, I mean it's interesting that timing was really interesting. That's why.
The thing is, he had very few units, and I saw him moving out with all his sentries and immortals, so they're very slow. So I could just team in his base and just harass a bit and kill as much as I could. So if I didn't lose anything, like I should have done, it would have been really good.
Mhm.
Because if Protoss gets out of position, you have to punish it. You can't let him walk like out in the map without doing anything.
Okay.
The same goes for Colossi. If they go Colossi and they push you, the best way to deal with it is usually just to drop 2 Medivacs in their base when they're out on the map. So they're out of position. They have no way of going back. They just win the game right there.
Our
I see.
SCVs are under attack.
Okay, so talk to me about what you see, Mihai.
Well, I scouted. The only problem I had with what I just did is I lost the SCV a bit too early, but that's fine. But I scouted the second gas at a timing that's usually for like Blink Stalker or maybe a Robo, but I doubt it's gonna be a Robo. So yeah, I'm just gonna open up 5 racks because it gets a lot of production going on, and I can defend Blink Stalker much more comfortably with it. And then, after I see what he's doing, whether or not he's taking a fast base or not, then I'll take a fast base or I'll take my gas. I'll see. We'll see.
Why don't you open CC first if you want to go for 5 racks?
Because I only 5 racks if I scout this 2 gas opening. If not, I do either 4 racks or 3 racks depending on the map, and then I'll add a fast third command server, like without any gas. And it gets you a lot of Marine production going, and again, Marines in the early game are really strong. And if you watch GSL, a lot of Terrans are playing extremely Marine heavy, especially in the early game. So it's just a really versatile way to play, I think. I find, and I've been having pretty good time with it. So now it's 6 minutes, and I'll scan his NAT, and I see that he has an Expo, so that tells me that he probably went for a Robo. And that's fine with me. I mean, he's just playing safe. He might be going for some awkward 3-gate, some mass sentry, I don't know. But, I'll just deal with it. I'll scan again around 7:30, 8, see what he has, and then adjust accordingly. But as of now, since I know that he took the base pretty early, I'll just go and get my third command center, and then get my gases, get my tech going.
Yeah, a good thing you can do on most maps, but not on this one, is to hide a second SCV. So when you hide it, you can basically check if they take a second expansion or not. And if you don't see a second expansion, when you scan into his natural and you see no gas, then you know for sure that it's 6 gates. So
I see.
It's very important information, but on this map it's very hard to hide the SCV because the 2 sensor towers are like they see everything that goes through. So
right. You almost have to
like
get it out there really early, right, before he even takes it.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm gonna push up. And right before I get to his base, I'm going to scan right now. And now I get to see his gas, I get to see that's a lot, I can't really do anything, but I know that he's not following me, so I feel pretty comfortable. I don't have to add any extra bunkers, and I can just keep playing.
Well, this is where you kind of establish your third base, right?
Yeah, I'm not in a rush to take it because again, I don't have enough SCVs to saturate it, and I don't need the extra 2 gas right away.
Okay.
So I'm just gonna keep that third command center, make more SCVs, get the third mule, and just keep building my units, get my tech up. Here, I don't know, I shouldn't have pulled back that fast because I think Protoss is playing a bit greedy, sending these 2 stalkers out, because I mean the only other build he might have done with the 2 gas opening would be like an immortal push, immortal all in, but he took the 2 gas at the timing when I scanned at 8 minutes, so obviously he's not doing that, so I don't know why he pushed out there, but I wasn't there to capitalize on it.
Right.
Add-on complete.
So here, the only regret I have, I mean, the only, is just not getting my factory a bit earlier, because I got my add-ons instead, which is kind of a mistake for me, but, I mean, it's not that bad. And here, I see a Forge, I see a Robo, that was really lucky. I just felt like scanning to see maybe he had some units there. I mean, I have the extra command center really early, but to me it's really weird how he opened and what he's doing now. I don't really understand it, but I mean, that's fine. I'm not too worried about my situation here.
Yeah, I actually think that walling on this map is pretty important because I think if you wall correctly, then with 4 supplies and 1
Oh,
bunker,
okay. Okay, yeah.
then you the surface where a zealot can hit a bunker is so tight that just 1 zealot fits. So if they 6
Oh, wow.
gate you, it just won't work because
Yeah.
1 single bunker is going to be super effective.
Right.
And also, don't forget, some people might go for late DTs. I mean, this is obviously not the case, but
Yeah, that's true. That's true. That was yeah. You're right. I don't. The late DTs. Sure, you could build turrets, but I mean, probably should have to be safe. But I don't mind managing the situation with the extra command center that I have for scans. I probably shouldn't have used that 1 scan when I scanned his net and I saw the forges. But I think with
yeah,
the
when you go for
additional
3
scan.
CCs,
Yeah, I think you have enough shit. Oh, sorry. Well, you have enough. You know,
It's fine.
you have enough at your disposal to deal with the situation. I mean, sure, you could build turrets and be that much safer, but it's not like you're gonna lose to what he's doing, considering what I'm doing. And here I have my medevac, so I'm gonna push out a bit and, you know, threaten some drops. There's no reason not to push out here. I can always run back if, you know, I'm in a situation that I'm not too comfortable with. And I see him take a fast third, so again, I think, you know, it's really weird how he's playing, but I can't really put him on exactly what he's doing, but I'll just pressure, see what I can do, try not to lose my units. You know, you should always pressure as long as you don't lose units. And, you know, we'll see what that leads to. I have my 3rd base going, so I'm going to add my 2nd starport, couple racks, and the 2nd starport is really there to, just in case he tech switches, you know, does stuff like that. Adds some extra utility to what I'm doing. Alright.
Somebody, get me out of this mess.
Yeah, and I played really awful there, but whatever.
yeah, it's okay. It's pretty hard to speak and play at the same time.
Yeah,
But yeah,
No, this
actually,
point-
on this map, now that they started doing this Colo Double Forge, it's a bit harder. But I don't know. In my experience, they usually take this one. That's
Ready to blunder.
Right.
and like usually Double Forge players go for Archons faster. So in this case, probably just better to build a better army and try to have a faster going eco in the early game.
And here I'm not in a situation I like because he has a pylon that I didn't scout, and now he can pressure my, you know, my base and push me at the same time. So that's gonna take quite a bit of management for me to not, you know, not screw up. And but I mean, if he waits any longer, then I'll get enough Vikings for. So I mean, it's not that bad of a situation.
Yeah,
but
actually, I think you're fine.
I'm kind of uncomfortable right now.
Yeah.
This is probably, I mean, again, you have to be really aware as Terran. You have to make sure you're always scouting for hidden pylons. You know, don't mess up, because if you do, then you know, you're kind of screwed when you realize it's there and you don't have anything to deal with it.
Yeah.
Ready to blunder.
Just requires that many more actions. If, like, for instance, that pylon was still there and he's warping in zealots while he's stacking these.
Yep.
Okay.
But yeah, actually,
Mineral field
it's pretty easy to play as Protoss. Just
Yeah,
wait.
yeah.
Additional supply units required.
That's why we have Terran Week, guys. So we can hear Terrans actually lament about a
Well,
matchup.
that's fine. At least Terran's fun and Protoss is boring.
Yeah, Terran is actually really fun to play.
Yep.
I was Protoss in Bulgur and I just
Yep,
changed
yep.
this because it's way more fun to play Terran. So.
Okay, so I like how you have the modern Marauders, you know, pretty much placed in front of the Marines, and kind of reorganized it, and now you're pushing. Okay, so So talk to me the push here. Are you just going to engage here, or are you just going to...
I just want to see what he has and see. I mean, this is the problem right now. I'm maxed and I don't have as many Vikings as I would like. So right now, if he chooses to play like this, I'm getting a couple more minerals and I'll just stay in the middle. Hopefully he attacks into me. I'll have, you know, better position. And if he lets me sit here too long, oh well, he's not.
Here he comes. Oh, that's a good EMP though.
So here, the only problem is my army is pretty small because for some reason it's not all there. I'm gonna just split a bit. Not
Yeah,
enough
you just left
Vikings.
some units behind.
Yeah.
That would have been a lot better, but again, I wouldn't have won that fight because I maxed with not enough Vikings, I feel. And now I'm in a really, really awkward situation. I'm gonna try not to die here, but it's gonna be really hard.
Alright, so he's just rushing up your third.
Base is under attack.
Yeah, actually, like a good Viking number for this kind of like max fight is 16. With 16 Vikings, you just one-shot Colossi, so it's way different than 2 shots. Like your army is so much better, and it really makes a difference. So
Oh yeah, definitely. Like the more volleys that 5 Colossi get off on you, the you know, that's enormous.
Well, here
damage.
the Protoss is really messing up its control.
Oh yeah, wow.
That was just, oops, I apparently didn't kill it off, but again, I lost a couple too many SCVs, and I mean, sure, that's fine, because I don't want to have too many SCVs, but I still don't have the infrastructure necessary, and that means, you know, more mules, so I want to suck all those units, and now I'm in a really, really bad situation. I don't think I can come back, my economy is really bad. But the only thing I have going for me is that his 4th, he still hasn't taken his 4th for whatever reason, so my upgrades are kind of late. It's just, it's not too good, but I mean, who knows, maybe.
you have a sensor tower there, man. You should check.
Oh yeah, that's true, that too, but yeah, I should start dropping maybe, but I mean, the problem with trying to harass a Protoss 2 at this stage of the game is that, you know, a good Protoss is going to start building cannons as well. And, you know, put a couple of Templars to feedback maybe, so, I mean, it's really hard to manage the late game as Terran, but if you can do it correctly, Terran's a pretty strong race.
I mean, so does that mean you pretty much have to win the game, like, right before, you know, late game, or...?
No, you just have to play really well, and, I mean, I didn't play as well as I could have this game, but late game is doable for Terran, it's just much, much harder than it is for Protoss.
Yeah, I actually think what is really important in a late game fight is to cloak the ghost.
Yeah, I should probably get to it.
You can also not do it, but if you snap the observer, then cloak ghost is like so much advantage. So
yeah, that's true. Here, Protoss is really out of position, and hopefully, no.
Okay.
Well, now I'm in a, you know, I'm not as bad as I was a couple minutes ago.
I mean, you actually look in pretty good shape here.
but you should get more ghosts. I think with just 2, you're not going to
Yeah.
every time.
Mineral field depleted.
Here, let's see if I can get some.
Actually, the optimal number to the late game is 8 to 10 ghosts and 16 Vikings, and rest should be Reapers Marauder. That's like the Terran perfect composition.
Okay, here I think I can get a really good position.
Oh yeah, you just sneaked in there, so he's got a choke right there.
Oh, but he might come in here, and I don't want to let him get.
This is the crazy. This is the crazy positioning in this matchup. Oh, we landed it. Oh, good EMP though. Wow.
And here I'm just gonna sit.
And I think the majority of your army is just out of Colossus. Oh, there you go. The Colossus just moved up there.
And I just, I don't know.
I mean, I think
didn't control as well as I could have. My Vikings are a bit out of position, and yeah, that just went. It could have been much better for me, but you know, it's over now. So good game.
I mean, that particular instance, that kind of it would have. I don't know. That's kind of an instance where I think maybe Marauder, like a more of a Marauder-heavy army, would have
Well,
been able to
it's
sustain
just
that.
the only problem that I have with going Marauders is that they're always going to like remax or make warp in after the fight. They're only going to make zealots, and once they get 20 zealots in, your Marauders aren't going to do anything. You can kite them forever, but I mean, it's just they don't do enough damage. That's just what it is, and you really need. I mean, the main problem, I think I should have had my Vikings over my army, because they were like secluded in an area where he could easily blink and target them,
Right.
without actually controlling them, because they had nothing else to target, so the AI automatically killed the Vikings. But
I see.
just
Yeah,
the
but they were
engagement
still
there,
not enough.
yeah, the
I think if
engagement
you had
there,
a bit more Vikings and like 8-10 goals, you would have won the game.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
that engagement.
yep. I definitely need a couple more goes, because again he started getting the Archons, and a bit more Vikings. Yep.
Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to put Cloud back in. Let me change this name panel here. You're going to be yellow, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I'm just going to make sure I have the all the colors and everything right. And if you viewers just joining in, what we're doing is we're having Cloud and Mihai walk us through some TvP strategies, and we're having them take turns playing live games while the other comments, critiques, and whole thing is to have them kind of collaborate and kind of talk about just how their strategies differ and maybe improve each other's play. So next up we got Puck from Team Convergence Gaming. We just had Clash U play a couple games with these guys, and thank you to him, and Team Clash is great. So now we're going to have Puck play a few games against these two guys. And let's start this puppy up. So what do you guys think of Mech in this matchup?
Impossible.
It's not viable.
All right, quick answers. That's what I'm talking about.
I mean, you could maybe make it work if you play perfect and you're playing a mediocre Protoss, but no, it's just it takes too much skill. Like, I mean, you could theory craft and say, yeah, well, what if you PF across the map? What if you have this unbeatable composition? Sure, you can probably reason it to work, but practically it's ridiculously, like, it's just bad. I just don't see it ever working unless they're all, unless they obviously change the game. But in the current metagame, it's just never gonna work. And maybe it'll work in the beginning when no one's used to it, no Protosses are used to it. But I mean, once they get used to the timings, for example, if someone figures something out, I don't see it viable, because the even if you're maxed, and like in theory, like mech should beat anything when it's maxed, but it just doesn't. I mean, it's kind of like, even look at TvT, for example, and the problems with mech sometimes is that if you're just out of position just for a second, even if you're max versus max bio, like the bio can face roll you so hard in some situations and be extremely cost effective. I mean, take that, put it in a TvP environment, and like the face rolling is gonna be like times like 1 million. It's just it's impossible to do. It just yeah. Basically.
Cool. Cloud, why don't you talk about this map and how it's kind of different than Shakur's?
Yeah, well, first of all, you only have one Selnaga tower, so this is actually good for Terran, because you can sneak SCVs around to check for like anything, and also it has less chokes, but you can take fights in really nice spots. Like, if you kill the rocks at the second expansion, that's a really good spot to take an engagement. You can scan, like dance around a bit, and then take the fight in a really good angle. So it's pretty good if you want to be aggressive. Drop play is viable. It's not like as good as Shakuras, but yeah, if they go Blink Stalker, it's not going to be worth it anyway. So.
Yeah, this map isn't that bad. It's pretty, it's a pretty decent map. The only problem I have with this map is that, once you go after the 3 bases, it's really hard for Terran to secure a 4th base. And I mean, to me, the most natural 4th base, for example, if I'm in Cloud's position, is the one right to the left of him, because you can kill the rocks there, and it's pretty accessible to your army. But even then, I mean, once Protoss starts building pylons around the map, I mean, getting to each base is kind of awkward, especially for Terran, whereas Protoss can just warp in units. So if it goes into really late game, I think this is a pretty good map for Protoss, just in terms of how the expansions are laid out.
I mean, can't Terran drop on... I mean, shouldn't Protoss have a similar issue with...
Well, they should, but late game they can build cannons. Unlike Terran, you can't build bunkers and have them automatically fire without units in them. So they can just... They don't have to commit supply to defending drops. And even if they do, I mean, first of all, they have Blink late game, which is extremely useful on this map. And also, they have warp in at all of their bases. So, I mean, they're not always going to be able to warp in, especially in a late game scenario where it's max versus max, but Protoss has a much easier time on these big maps. Any map that's big and that has, you know, it's difficult to navigate through the expansions is a really good Protoss late game map because they can just warp in a lot of units during the fights, and really planetaries aren't that good when you can warp 20 zealots and just A-move it, or DTs. I mean, trust me, like, I PF and yeah, okay, but like, once they get, you know, 10, 15 zealots / DTs, they just one-shot that PF really hard. So yeah.
Add-on complete.
But besides that, this map is pretty, you know, it's pretty decent. It has, you can hold 6 gate at the ramp pretty efficiently. I think it's hard, blink stalkers on this map are really good, like 1 base blink or 2 base. Has a lot of potential, so that's probably the only thing you would have to watch out as a Terran. But besides that, securing your 3 base is pretty decent, and as Cloud said, there are good engagement spots, and if you knock out the rocks, which is really easy to knock out the rocks at the Protoss' third, because, I mean, while you're knocking them out, you can be pressuring with drops, you know, having their army out of position, so you're always going to knock down those rocks, but, and then once those rocks are down, there's a lot of ways to pressure the Protoss. So the mid game is pretty decent on this map, but the late game I don't think is that good.
Yeah, I agree. When you want to take the fourth base, then it means you have to keep the middle, because if you lose the middle, then there's no way that Colossi are not going to destroy your SCVs. So
yeah, exactly. And Colossus can walk up and down cliffs, so you know, from that regard, Protoss is much more versatile.
But you know, it's also true that it's a good position. Terran is going to hold middle at some point, and if you just keep holding it, it's going to be fine.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, then I got supply blocked when I was speaking.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. There you go.
It's okay, not as bad as I thought.
So I missed this. Cloud, did you go 2 racks tech after Expo?
This is Thorzen's build. You don't know it?
No, I've seen. I think I might have seen it, but I haven't seen it in a while. Probably. Is it new or?
No, it's very old. But
yeah, it's the one he used in TSL.
No, I don't think it's that old.
Okay. No, I don't usually. Again, like as you saw, I play very racks heavy early game.
What the fuck?
This better be good.
Wow, Colossi drop.
Okay.
Huh.
Complete.
Okay.
Interesting.
Interesting, is right.
Yeah, this is actually pretty good, but I mean, the problem is Cloud is going for a really quick tech build. I mean, 2 racks tech is really fast, so it shouldn't be that hard. For example, if this Protoss would have done this particular build against me in, you know, that same game on Shakuris, I would have had a much harder time holding it. But I mean, you can hold it properly. You can hold it if because the Colossus doesn't have range yet, so you can micro Marauders against it. I mean, they have the same range. It's harder to hold, but Cloud should be in a pretty decent position. You didn't take a fast third. There's not that much surface for the Protoss to harass, so it's pretty good. I mean, the only problem is that Cloud hasn't really been scanning, but of course, or scouting, but of course he's been talking, so it's much harder to.
No, actually, with this build, you don't need to scout.
You don't scout?
Yeah, you don't need to scout with that one.
You're safe.
Even against 6 gate?
Yeah.
Yep.
Huh.
It's about to get heavy.
You get enough units, but you're going to be behind against 6 gate, so you can't use it every game. You're gonna lose
Yeah,
many
okay,
SCVs
okay,
and be a bit behind, but you're
yeah,
not
I
going
see.
to die.
Yeah, I see what you. I see what you're saying.
What is it? What's the strength of this build, Cloud?
You basically get everything in a good time, and yeah, that's pretty much all.
Ready to blunder.
You get good tech, good unit mount, good eco, and
Gangway. Coming.
It's a very
yeah,
It's just a balanced build.
yeah, it's pretty balanced.
Okay.
Pretty safe balanced build. Like Torzen likes this kind of play.
Yeah, Tarzan we all know is a very safe player.
Yep.
Okay, so now you're pushing out. You're gonna
Armed and ready.
try to find him, I guess, because we don't. Well, that's MLG, right?
No,
So,
yeah, this is all
yeah.
across.
so
Research complete.
Faraz is doing a pretty nice build. I actually like this. It's pretty versatile and like it's pretty safe. But again, then again, every Protoss build is so. But yeah.
I mean, is Colossi drop pretty common? I mean, I don't think I see it that
It's
often.
becoming no. I mean,
Oh.
it's quite rare, but it's something. It's becoming much more of an occurrence, and I think it's pretty. I mean, just warp prisons in general are becoming much more used.
Right, yeah,
so,
yeah.
And I mean, they're extremely powerful. So, the obviously before the buff, maybe they wouldn't have been as good because it is true that they died really quick. But now they're really durable. They're fast with the with the speed upgrade. With with Colossus in them, you can kite anything. So this is a pretty decent build. I don't know if it can become something that's staple in terms of standard play. Like you can do this every game and it's going to be good. But as a build, it's pretty decent. But here Cloud's playing really well in terms of his positioning and just holding off the warp prism pretty easily. I think Cloud's going to want to get a sensor tower. Do you agree? I mean, the warp prisms are a threat, especially with speed. So.
Here's the
Oh
engagement.
fuck.
Yeah,
Yeah.
caught you out of place there.
Coming through. Kaboom, baby. SCV ready.
All right, so
Base
how
is
many
under attack.
Vikings you got here? You got
Pretty decent
6
number.
Vikings. Okay.
Yeah.
I will wait for 8, then I can go.
Yep.
Okay.
That's good.
Mineral
So first
field
attack is always a no, basically no ghost kind of attack, and then a
Yeah, yeah.
follow-up attack is with ghost, right?
Yeah, you want to get Ghost pretty early
Yeah.
because of course Templar can come out anytime. But you can't just wait for Ghost and attack. That takes too long. You have to pressure a bit, and you never need to commit with these attacks. Again, the only real threat
base
when
is under attack.
being in this situation is that you max too early as Terran, and you max with the wrong composition. You max without Ghosts, you max without enough Vikings, and that's really where the danger is in Terran because what are you gonna do? Like you don't always have enough time to kill off your SCVs and replace them with mules, and you can't either just want to engage the Protoss because what if like you don't have the best composition, so you won't be too cost effective. And if Protoss kills too many of your units, he just attacks you and then warps in, and it's really easy to lose the game as Terran. That's the major issue. And here's a pretty decent position for Cloud, I think.
There you go, taking down those Colossi, 2
I think
volleys.
Cloud has this game right
Yeah.
here.
Those force fields are actually hurting him.
Yep.
Yeah.
Landing the Vikings. This should be.
Oh,
a
nice land of the
Yeah.
Vikings.
Mineral field.
GG, good game.
Alright, if you excuse me. I'm gonna
Good
fix the
game.
Really quick. I'll be right back.
Yeah, so basically I had to worry. If Tempers would reach 75 energy,
Mm-hmm.
then I would have totally lost that fight. So yeah, if Storm kicks in and you have no Ghosts, there's no way you're going to win. Like
I
it's
see.
just not possible. So when I scanned, I knew that I had to go. Yeah, I was surprised that he had so much after that kind of like Warprise rush.
Right, yeah.
But yeah, it was interesting. Actually, I've never seen that build before. I mean, I did, but perhaps in the beta. So yeah, it was pretty interesting.
Okay, great. Let's see, we're going to have Mihai play him again. we're gonna have him play Puck from Convergence Gaming. Let me. Actually, what's a different map? That map I think was pretty straightforward. That's another good TvP map.
I think Daybreak is pretty okay.
All right, let's do that. Daybreak just got added to the pool, which is I'm pretty happy about. I really like Daybreak. I think a lot of people would probably agree with that. Let me move me to. Okay, so for those viewers just joining in, we're having Cloud and Mihai walk us through some TvP strategies. And what we're having them do is take turns playing some live games and talking through their play, and the person they're not playing is kind of looking over their shoulder and commenting and critiquing. And let me add, where's Puck? There he is. And I need to add Cloud too. Where are you? There you are. Okay, so.
Okay, so about last game.
Yes.
Regarding the Vikings, once you kill the Colossi, all you have to do is not waste them. I see most players, even seen programmers doing that. They just land the Vikings randomly, like in front of the other units. That's just bad.
Yeah.
Because if you lose the Vikings and he repairs your army, then his Colossi will just be unstoppable in the next one. So it's just not worth to sacrifice some like.
Definitely want to have your
that
units
was good.
be
Landing
optimal.
them behind the units, they do a lot of damage, but Vikings are definitely not tanky units, and if you lose them, you have to replace them, which means maybe you've lost the medevacs too. Then you have to are you building medevacs or are you building Vikings, and you need both, right? So
yeah,
it's really not good to lose them, but the way Cloud used them that game was really good.
Yeah,
another thing I was experimenting with the Vikings was once you kill the Colossi, you just go kill some probes. But in the end, I just think that their ground DPS is not too bad, so I would rather use them to just support the main fight. But yeah, like the key point is just not waste them. That's what many Terran players do, and that's what they should never do.
Right. Yeah, once they're done killing the Colossi, they usually just fly around sitting there taking damage from stalkers and stuff. But I mean, to your point about, maybe landing your Vikings to, harass mineral lines and that kind of thing. I mean, it's pretty rare that I always feel like a Terran needs every single unit to engage a Protoss army.
Yeah.
That's pretty much the case, right? I mean, you couldn't take a medevac and
well, even if you could, again, it's really one medevac is really easy to stop.
Yeah, the warp in.
Maybe they forgot a Templar on the base. You never know, right?
Yeah.
And the thing is, because the reason this is because Terran doesn't have a unit that creates walls or like that has AOE damage basically. I mean, yeah, they have EMP, but it doesn't kill units. So Terran needs much more units to fight than Protoss does.
Yep.
Here I walled in after the probe got in because first I don't mind if he's scouting me, and also I don't want the probe to go off on the map and build pylons. So that's the only reason I walled in after the probe got in.
And actually, even if they scout you and they see no gas, right now the Koreans have made some pretty good new builds. So even if you don't have gas, you have options instead of just fast expanding. Like you can actually tree racks, and it's really strong. Perhaps not against what Pak is doing now, but since so many Protoss players are being greedy, and when they see you have no gas, they will go Nexus as fast as they can, because they will most likely suppose it's going to be command center, which is most likely going to be anyway. You can punish it with 3 racks. You just make 3 racks, like attack with 10 marines, and you're gonna do a lot of damage. You're gonna kill Stalker or Sentry or something like that, perhaps a few probes, and then you expand behind it, and it's really effective. So yeah, there's options. So the strong thing about Terran is that in the early game you have so many options that if you're really good at mind gaming, especially in a tournament, this is like a really big advantage. While Protoss is a bit more like, yeah, they just hope they don't get scouted when they only like. If you land a good scan or you sneak an SCV, then like the strategy is just is given away.
Right. It's a lot like the Zerg matchup. The same deal, I think. It's
yeah, but you know the thing is TvP is a lot more gimmicky. Like there's so many builds that interact in really weird ways with each other, while I feel like TvZ is more mechanically straightforward. It's like you just try to get the most out of your units all the time.
TvZ, yeah, I meant ZVP, where it's the same kind of thing. If if they're planning like a 2-base all-in and Zerg just doesn't get the right read, and there's always that point that you just can't overcome. It's kind of similar, it sounds like, with this.
Yeah, when I speak to very good Protoss players like Zokke, for example, he says that most of the times it's not like how well you can perform it. You just do something and it either works or doesn't work. So yeah,
that's a good mindset. I mean, that's kind of a good mindset, especially when you're talking about in a series. You know what I mean? Like, you know, kind of going into it, and you know, a lot of times I think a lot of you know, it sounds like Terran players in this matchup and Zerg players in general kind of go with this. I gotta try to have to cover every kind of bases type of mindset. It's kind of interesting when you know, you kind of have this like July Zergish type of mindset where you just, you know, I'm just gonna do it, or MC kind of mindset, and you know, if it works, it works, and if it doesn't, then next game, you know.
Yeah, it fits Protoss really well.
Yeah, exactly.
I think. Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
I just wanted to point out that in retrospect, I kind of don't like how I opened up this game, because I scouted a 2-gas, which is why I'm doing this again. But on this map, obviously Blink Stalkers aren't as good, so I could have just opened up a 4-racks instead, and you know, or even 3-racks to defend it. But again, I like taking that early 3rd base, and I would have been fine. But on this map, with even if I opened up 5-racks, I can't pressure properly because it's so big. So I kind of, you know, these units have not that much they can do right now, and that's probably one of the main regrets I have with the build I chose this game.
So with the 2-gas read for the viewers, like, what did you read from that, and why did why'd you end up going 5-racks in response?
Well,
to
I just go 5-racks against 2-gas because because I think it's pretty decent, like against basically anything they do. And okay, Protoss got Blink. It's just good against anything they do. I mean, I just really hate Blink Stalker all-ins. Like, it's just really strong, and I just found that going this. I mean, there are 3 ways you can open really. Is 3-racks, 4-racks, or 5-racks, and 5-racks is just a really safe version of the other 2. So that's why I opened it.
I didn't 5-racks recently. I used to do it a lot more in the past, but how does it interact with the Blink all-in of 1 base? Like, can you actually hold it with just Maurice without upgrades?
Yeah, you just well, I mean, obviously if you know they're going Blink, you want to get a couple Marauders, but you just have a lot of units. And I mean, even when I did 4-racks, I had and rushed Marauders, I just found like I just didn't have that many units. I don't know what your take. I think that for me. I mean, the all-in build is really the hardest time I have in TvP is Blink Stalker all-in. So I don't know, Cloud, if you have different ideas on this.
I used to think the same, but then I just found out that if you just lift your command center, put it in your main, and just defend your main, kill Medivacs, and you're going to be fine. So
would you have to bunker your nap though? I mean your ramp?
Yeah. You have to make a bunker there, and a bunker in the blinking spot. So yeah, just keep making them. Eventually you will get like a slightly bigger army. Then you play with advantage. it's very rare to just win there,
Yeah,
unless
yeah,
they just attack into you for no reason.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
But yeah, overall you can end up with a decent advantage if you just land your command center back in your main. If you don't land it back in your main, then you have to defend too much space, and that's
Yeah,
where
that's true.
the big stalker all-in is very strong.
But it also depends on the map, I find. For example, on the map where there's no ramp at your mat, like, do you do the same? I mean, for example, Tal'Darim Rim, like, there's no ramp at. I mean, oh no, never mind. I guess it's a bad example. I don't really have a map in mind right now, but.
Yeah, the only map with no ramp is Tal'Darim, but the problem with Tal'Darim is that they could either Nexus first or Gate or whatever. Like every photo speed is first one. But I have a nice speed on Tal'Darim. If we get to play that map, I would like to show it. It's a very map specific build, so.
Okay.
It's supposed to be the worst Terran map against Protoss, in my opinion. Even against Zerg.
Yeah, it's a hard map.
I hate Tal'Darim so much. Like,
Yeah, Tal'Darim is definitely a tough Terran map.
it's,
Too much map to cover.
you can make it work somehow. Like, there's some things about Tal'Darim, like drop is pretty good Tal'Darim, so. Yeah, you can actually snipe drop with siege tanks.
Yep.
So it's all about to. You can't play standard. If you play standard, then you're most likely to go to get screwed by something very stupid.
Yeah, I think your mic's like fading a little bit, Cloud.
Yeah, I'm a bit sick, so my body's a bit. Oh.
Oh, okay. There you go. That's a little bit better now. Oh, there's a cannon.
Yeah, so I scanned a bit too much, but I didn't click the units fast enough. And here, like, the only problem I have with making units now is just, I wasn't too sure what he was doing, but now I realize that he's going upgrade, so I don't think he has Colossus right away. So I don't need to, I should just be crushing now.
I like that you get your second star code right now. I see even Korean Terrans, they get their second star code so late.
Yeah.
And they never get the reason. There is no good reason to not invest 100
Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna push into the third here.
Okay, well he has only Zealots.
Oh wow, that's gonna be so good for you. Just gotta position your Marines a little better, right? Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. And here I'm just gonna poke. I don't want to commit too much because again he has Zealots, like a lot of Zealots, and I can wait a bit for Ghosts, have a much easier time with them.
Yeah, you should.
And if he just sits on this, and you know, on this many Zealots, I'll just face roll him even harder when the fight starts. But now, okay, he just got his Robo now, or that's probably his second Robo, so I know that Colossi aren't going to be out for a while.
So you have
and
you
he
saw
doesn't.
the tweet, right?
Yeah, I saw the prism.
Yeah, that's the biggest problem. But yeah.
And here I'm just going to sit and kill his Zealots. There's no way he can win this fight. Because he just didn't have a good army composition. And now I'm going to start making Vikings as well, because I know that the tech switch is coming. And now, I think, as long as I don't mess up, which is very possible that I do, it should be a pretty straightforward game to win.
But he actually fucked it up pretty hard, because if he actually hit every storm on your army, then you would have lost right there.
Yeah, that's for sure.
So, I think you needed a bit quicker Ghost.
Yeah.
What to do, like, when I play Whitera, he's always doing this thing with Templars. You need the Vikings. Just at least 2 Vikings to deal with the war.
you have to engage here.
I mean, this is fine. I'm not gonna attack because... Why is my star code there? I'm not gonna attack because I just don't have Vikings, but I took that engage because apparently he doesn't have Colossus range yet, and also I just killed a couple units, and now I can't attack. I'm just going to... I'm playing really badly this game, but whatever. I'm just gonna wait for my Vikings, and hopefully... a macro critical in this game. So
And I think in TvP there is a point where you just decide to sit back and wait for your first army. And if you were Torzane, because
Mineral field
I know him
depleted.
very well, he would do it like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Mr. Spoon Terran, yeah.
I think there's more room for aggression.
Mineral
So,
field depleted.
yeah.
Well, I think it's really about the Colossi, right? I mean, at this point, his Colossi count requires the proper Viking count, right? Is that kind of how the
Yeah,
logic goes
fourth
there?
base too, yeah.
I mean,
There's not much I can do about that fourth base. I'm just gonna start getting levels. So,
Complete.
you know, I should kill this off so I can run back better.
well, he's got you kind of pinned there.
Okay, that was really awkward.
Wow, I'm surprised he didn't engage you there, but he let you get out in the open
Okay,
there.
he
Yeah,
chooses to engage here. I'm gonna
Yeah,
yeah, that's
fight.
gonna be so bad for him. Okay, yeah, he should turn around.
Oops.
Well, he's trying to. This is the
You don't
crazy
need
dance.
Vikings.
Yeah.
Yeah, fuck that. I don't need Vikings. Okay.
Oh, he's gonna gut you in the choke now. I don't know. Oh, actually, his storms didn't quite land.
Really nice position.
Yeah,
You took a really good fight.
Yeah.
nice.
As you saw, all my Marines were behind,
Oh,
as much as they could be.
Oh, free
My
Colossi.
Vikings were in a really good spot. The problem is, oh, I didn't see that. The problem is, the problem is he just didn't have enough stalkers. And here I'm just gonna be careful, and I forget my ghost.
Kill the fourth here. Yeah, pretty easily.
Add-on complete.
It's okay
I
to
think
lose
this
this
is a
army, right?
situation where you should have just pulled back and waited.
Yeah, probably.
Gotta take out at least the fourth. At this point. Yeah, there you go.
I'm just,
Mineral field
I'm playing really badly this game for some reason. But
Save the ghosts.
Yeah, it's
add-on
okay.
complete.
But yeah, one really easy mistake to do, and I do it so many times, because when you win a fight like that, basically against Protoss, you feel like you can win the game right there, but it's not so.
yeah.
You actually have to recollect, wait, and take another good fight. You usually have to win 2 big fights, one after another, to win a TvP.
That's a good point. I mean, it's a lot of people.
That's true. That's very true.
Yeah.
That's the problem. Again, that's what makes Terran hard a lot. Is that in any matchup, and by any matchup I mean, you know, TvP, TvZ, you can't just automatically take your army and attack the other player like they can do it to you.
Do you have any?
Because just Terran doesn't reinforce as fast, and if you don't have proper positioning, you just lose, like, in terms of cost efficiency, like, very badly.
So you don't have any ghosts here, right?
I don't know, they all died, I think.
Yeah, this is gonna be.
Yeah, it should make some ghosts.
Oh, well,
yeah, it's gonna be
He doesn't
tough.
have Templar. He doesn't have anything to kill my Vikings either.
Got so many Vikings though. Oh, that's a good EMP though. Oh. There you go. Nice.
mineral field depleted.
So it's like right now. Would you back off or would you keep going?
No, I just wanted to pressure this, but now I don't want to commit.
Yeah. It's kind of one of those situations where you're talking about.
Yeah, this is even worse than last time.
Yeah.
Like, if you go straight, even for 5 seconds, then his army just dies. So yeah, it was pretty good engagement. Too bad that the Vikings clamped for a second.
Yeah.
Then like 2 Archons just destroyed them.
But he's not making. Oh, he has a DT shrine. That's not good. Oops. But he's not making any more Colossus here, from what I can tell. So I'm not going to make.
Actually, yeah, many people play Orbital on top left, like in that expansion, this map. But since Dark Templar harassment is so good, I usually make planetaries.
Yeah.
I think, yeah, it's way less eco, but feels safer.
Yeah. I think I agree with you on that. Okay, well here.
5. You have 7
Mineral
orbitals.
field depleted.
You could start to suck
Yeah, I
some
kill
more.
my SCVs off. Yeah.
Uh, you should try Reapers, they're great.
Alright, I'll try them sometime if I start playing better and if I don't forget. Okay, I'm just gonna let them die and get more Vikings.
Our SCVs are under attack.
Actually, I've seen people getting battle cruisers with the game.
Battle cruisers? Yeah.
Yeah,
Actually, QXC
Like
was
the-
talking about it the other day.
yeah. I've been trying that for some time. So Happy, the Russian Terran,
Yeah.
he's been the first player to do that. But in the end, it's not worth it.
Oh, really?
Like-
Okay.
No, it's not, because they're overall very slow.
Uh,
Yeah, you have to waste EMPs to, like, 2 EMPs to deplete their energy anyway, and it's not like they don't give as much as like having more ground units.
I mean,
So-
the purpose of the battle cruisers is for tanking, right? It's not really for DPS, anyways, right? I mean,
Yeah, but for tanking what? Stalkers?
Yeah.
well, I mean,
Ready to plunder.
I guess that's true.
Okay, well now.
But they have pretty neat DPS. It's just that they're very slow, and they will most likely not focus the zealots on the front.
Right.
So you'd rather get more Reapers, which is more DPS against zealots anyway, and it's more focused DPS.
Mineral
see,
field
I see.
depleted.
Yeah, I rarely see Reapers played. Wow, that's kind of cool.
I think it's going to be big soon
Resting geyser
because they're
exhausted.
just good. I mean,
Pretty cheap
Hey.
too. I mean, yeah.
Mineral
yeah,
field
you can actually use your gas because late game Terra usually has a lot of spent gas.
Right.
They cost as much as Marines in terms of dominions, but they actually have better defense, so and better HP. So if you don't like miscontrol them because they're faster, so they're going to be pretty strong in a big engagement.
This feels like this is gonna be it right here.
SCVs are under attack.
Let's see.
This is probably the hardest thing you can do as Terran. The situation right here is like the hardest thing to manage.
Yep. Max army versus max army. It's always.
I think is very well spread, and if Mihai wants to attack, he has to do it in a concave. So yeah, you never want to do that. You really have to out-micro your opponent to be able to do it. But Fuck is not doing as well as Mihai, so
Upgrade complete.
yeah. So far it looks good for Terran.
Oh, shoot.
Okay.
Ghost went bye-bye there.
I should have just EMP'd. Well, now I can't attack because
Right.
I can't kill those Archons at all. I just don't feel comfortable. I should have just played a bit greedy there in terms of picking to snipe instead of
EMPing.
yeah.
But what you did was really ambitious. If you try to engage into such a big concave, you actually have to outplay your opponent, because in this matchup game, defender's advantage is so important, so good. So like, since your army is faster, you can outmaneuver a bit, perhaps get a better position. But I don't know, attacking into such a wide area doesn't usually end well. Unless
Yeah,
you
but then again, where should I be attacking from? You know?
If you go from the bottom,
Oh, I think I can.
let's use engagement.
Oh, I can swing around. You might be able to get him on the ramp here. Oh, got through. There we go. Oh man, it's very good. Oh, your Vikings are. There we go. But those Archons are so good.
Yeah, well, just played bad that game, but I think that was a pretty easy game to win from that one fight. But then I just
Why did you GG?
Yeah, why'd you GG? I felt like.
No, I don't know. I didn't. The thing is that
Huh.
I don't know. I didn't feel comfortable because he had too many fucking zealots, and then I didn't have that many SCVs left. And yeah, I had the orbals, but I was almost mined out. It was gonna be hard for me to take 12, and I didn't think I had. If I had more units, then that I missed maybe. But then even my medevacs were kind of out of position. So how was I gonna go back and defend? I don't know. I just I'll go watch that replay real quick. Actually.
Okay. Okay, viewers. For you guys, we're kind of in a weird position right now because I don't think we have time for another game, and it's a little bit earlier than what we normally Q&A. So why don't you guys start adding me on Skype? My Skype ID is ChanmanV, so you can call in your questions. I want to thank Puck from Convergence Gaming for helping us out with some games, and Clash U earlier for playing some games with us today. But why don't we just chat a little bit about some of the TvP strategy, and then we'll maybe some things that we haven't talked about yet, and then we'll go into Q&A with the viewers.
Yeah, of course. Actually, I wanted to make a point out of the new kind of metagame, because lately in Europe, like very strong Terrans like Kaz or yeah, also Torzen have been doing it for some time as well. We have been copying this build that MVP played at an MNG like some months ago, and the point of this build is that it's really abusive eco game. So basically, you hope that you don't get forgated. Like the whole point of the build is that you just abuse the fact that you think you're not going to be forgated. So if you like use it very smartly in a best of 5 in a tournament, it's going to be very strong because what happens? You make barracks expansion, and then with just 2 marines, you make another command center.
Yeah, I know it. Yeah.
And you don't follow it up with 5 barracks to be safe. You actually take the gas and just play standard from there.
Mm-hmm.
Thing is that if you manage to not die to 4 gates with this build, then at 13 minutes you get around 170 supply, and that's a really strong timing because Protoss won't have Storm and Colossus at the same time. So you can actually attack, and as long as you scan before at right timings and you know what he has, there's no way you're going to lose a big fight unless you take it into a really bad position. So what happens then? Basically, Protoss players in Europe will be randomly forgetting, hoping that these players would do this double command center, and it became pretty ugly. But yeah, in the end, it's still in favor of Terra because, of course, if you make a cheese based on it's like a defensive cheese because you want to defend from this 3 command center abuse that that Terran can pull off. So I think it's pretty interesting. But yeah, I also think that Terran doesn't. Protoss also with 6 gate that's pretty strong, like lame options. So
Right.
Overall, I think the matchup could have been designed better because there's not enough scouting. There should be more room for scouting. I don't know how, but it feels like it's mostly about mind games. Of course, you need to have good control and everything. But if two players are on the same level, like two pro gamers on the same level, it's so much about which build you randomly decide to use.
Hmm.
And of course, you can be really smart. You can study your opponent. You can just pick a build order and just a new one that like nobody ever seen, and just win a game with it. But still, it feels like it's not on par with TVZ or TVT, where most of the times the better player wins.
Yeah, and
While
that's kind of what I was getting at earlier is that there's that totally different mentality of playing where you go into a game, you're saying, hey, I have a 60% chance of winning, and I'll take that. You know what I mean? If against like whatever builds are popular right now, right? And a lot of people actually at least go into maybe one or two games like that in a series. Is what I've noticed. At least whether it's Korean games or even foreigner games. And some people do that, and it's kind of an interesting approach because that's not the common approach. The common approach is like try to win every single game, right? Like I mean, try to adapt and be able to theoretically win every single game, right? And that's
no, you can't do that. Not on StarCraft 2.
yeah, true. Okay, so we got actually a caller. We've got Braxton, so I'm gonna have him or her actually talk to you guys.
No, you can't do that. Not on StarCraft.
Hello?
Hey, how's it going?
Going good. How's it going? Hi, yeah, I have a question I wanted to ask Cloud.
Yeah, tell me.
Yeah, well, I'm a Terran player. First of all, I've followed you since Brood War. I'm a fan. And I've played Terran since release. And I'm in the Diamond League. And at first, when the game was out, I always used Vikings and Ravens to stop Broodlords. And then eventually people convinced me to start using Ghosts. And I started using Ghosts, and it was awesome because they were dominant. But then they nerfed the Ghosts, and now I'm screwed because I'm going back to Vikings and Ravens, and then I just lose to the Ultra switch. So what do you do late game against Broodlords, first of all?
Well, thing is, right now it's very very difficult.
Yeah, I know.
Well, actually, my problem is not really the switch, because if you build the proper army, like they really have to commit to Broodlords, and if they commit to Broodlords, then you can snipe expansions around the drops, and if you snipe expansions around, then they won't be able to switch back to Ultras. So they're like really all in with this big death ball of Broodlords.
Right.
But yeah, the real problem is that when they switch to Broodlords, then you start making Vikings, but they also have a pretty solid ground army from before, so you don't have enough Vikings because they're very slow to make, and they can make so many Corruptors at the same time. So that's like the biggest problem for me. It's the switch, but if you really want an all-around option, then you should try to play mech, because actually a mech army in late game wins hands down against Zerg. I mean, you have to do it right. You need very few SCVs, and if you play mech, that's possible because you have so many overmillions that you can just make so many orbitals. And yeah, basically, the mech army is just better. Tors are good against everything, and you just need few siege tanks to deal with the infestors, but they're also very good against ultras. And just throw in 2 ravens for killing the corruptors. Yeah, and just make Vikings. So yeah, that's actually the ultimate Terran army. And yeah, at last I was speaking with Ibra because he just told me, so how do you beat a Terran army? Like, well, Zergs are winning pretty well. I mean, it's and it's like, yeah, but in the situation where you get full maxed mech army late game, there's no way I'm going to win. And yeah, I don't think it's right. I mean, it doesn't happen every game, but if you really want to have a solid late game, then I think learning to play mech is better. But
I agree. It's tough to take a third sometimes, though, isn't it?
yeah, you have to know your timings. Thing is, you can't deny the third pretty well with Banshee and Hellions. Like it's all about the Hellions when you play mech.
Yeah.
I I was trying to learn mech and was speaking with Chef about it, and he just told me that when you play mech TVZ, it's all about the Hellions. So you just have to keep the Zerg behind in eco, and then it's just all about that. But if you want to buy your option, what Maro is doing right now, and what I'm trying to do, is just make a few ghosts, like 5, 6 ghosts, tanks. Don't make Vikings, and make many Marines. And
Right.
if they, all you have to do, just with Cloak Ghost and Superior Micro, just try to EMP or snipe the infestors.
Right.
And if if they don't have enough fungals, then your Marines are going to roll the bulldogs so hard. So,
Right.
like the concept is trying to counter the infestors with the ghost, but I think it's like if you are on the same level as the Zerg, it's not going to work well.
Yeah, it's tough to
So
do.
All
yeah,
right.
I will go for back.
All right, Braxton. Thanks for the question.
Thanks,
All
bud.
right. Take it easy. All right. We got one more question from David Kim. I don't think it's the David Kim, but it's yeah.
He's a huge troll.
Exactly. Either that or he's
No, I
just.
know him. I know.
Oh,
I
do
know
you?
him.
Okay. Here we go. Here we go. Let's get ready.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, what's up? You got a question?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Alright, I actually have two questions. One's, like, the first one's pretty troll. Like, do you know the ID of the, guy on NBC Attack that said pussy pussy hair wet or whatever?
Yeah, Clash legal.
Clash legal?
Yeah.
Okay. That was, yeah, question one. Question two, about TvP, like, Heart of the Storm's gonna come out soon. And if Blizzard wants to make like mech and TvP viable, what do you think they can do? Like maybe with the Battle Hellion or like any new like AOE damage unit. Like what do you think Blizzard can give Terran to make mech viable TvP? Because in Brood War you had vultures and tanks, and you'd mix them like Goliaths and stuff, so it was viable.
I think the Shredder looks like an interesting unit, depending on how much damage it does. Obviously, it probably won't be as good as the Mine. But Shredder looks interesting. Also, the Battle Hellion seems like it can tank a lot of Zealots, which primarily is like one of the biggest troubles for Terran to deal with, is just killing those Zealots. But also, Terran needs a viable anti-air option, because how are you going to kill carriers? I mean, you can go Vikings, but then your ground army is pretty... it's much weaker. And also, like, tanks are too... like, they're not good enough right now as of how they're not cost efficient enough. Like just in general, like the Terran composition when you go mech isn't as cost efficient as it should be. So probably more AOE, more ways to block the the opponent from getting to your tanks. Like in Brood War, you could just set down mines, and obviously that was a good buffer. Vultures were a really good buffer, but like in this game, just tanks don't do enough damage. For example, you could have Hellions buffering really well, but I mean, your tanks won't really be killing that much. And then how do you kill Immortals too? I mean, you need some throws. It's really hard to get the composition. They need to add some really strong units that can work all around, and just make the Terran mech army a bit more cost efficient in general. So.
All right, David. Thanks for your questions, man.
No problem.
All right, later, buddy.
Peace.
Peace.
Peace. That was fun. All right, yeah, guys. Hash is not here. We had Mihai come and sub in for Hash because we had a little miscommunication in showtime. Let's see. Do we have any more questions for these two guys? Surely you guys have questions. I mean, all you guys are asking for Terran shows, and now I have Terrans on the show, and you guys aren't asking questions. So
this guy in the chat asked thoughts about including a few cloaked bands.
Yeah, there you go.
And Scan plus Vikings usually kill observers. Have 2 or 4 Banshee to pick off Sentry / High Templar. Obvious problem is one more thing to micro, but seems strong.
Okay. It used to work like early in the beta. Like actually, who was the Terran that was really good in the beta? Like they got second place in GSL first season.
Rainbow, yeah.
Yeah, he used to do that, but I don't know. I've tried it. It just doesn't like doesn't mold well with like everything else. Like you you have to make too much of everything, and then you just don't have like anything. I mean, if they just make 3 observers and you can't snipe them, then you just have like units that could be more marine marauders.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much the reason, I guess.
Yeah, it's so hard to make a. It's hard to make an argument against bio being
And
most cost
and
efficient.
you need also you need to have the infrastructure, right? You have to start adding starports
Yeah.
and having tech labs, and then Banshees late game are also really fragile. I mean, they're gonna get feedback, they're gonna get stormed, and I mean just in general, they're as Cloud said, it's just less supply in terms of bio or actual viable units. So I don't think it's too feasible. The idea is obviously good, but I mean, then again, like, are you gonna play a strategy that revolves around sniping observers? I don't think that's that's the proper way to play an RTS. Like, just molding your whole strategy around one unit. The problem is you have to be really versatile and really solid in all areas of the game. And that's what makes or breaks a strategy. Is it good against everything, or is it good against one thing? And obviously you have builds that are good against one thing, and they're designed to be kind of like metagame, mind game builds. But when you're talking about is this viable or not, it has to be viable, just in the general sense of the word, I think.
But yeah, actually, there's also no need to make Banshees if you really want to rely on sniping observers, because Ghost can cloak as well.
Yeah, Ghost. Yeah.
And they kill stuff really quickly. So yeah, it's not like Banshees are needed. It's if you want to do that, perhaps in some kind of early mid game push, but definitely not in late game. And even then, early mid game, like, it's not worth it.
Okay, great. I think we have another question here. Is Banshee Marine Tank Ghost viable in macro games?
No.
Yeah.
All right.
There is a build that if you watch GSL, Gumiho did it at some point in the recent GSL. Is he expos and then goes straight cloak Banshee and does like a 2-base 1-1-1, but eventually adds more racks. But he just gets the Banshee and a couple tanks to be safe, and that's kind of like a blind counter to like 6-gate, 8-gate, whatever. But if you want, so yeah, I mean you could do that composition, but it only works in specific situations, in very specific situations, and it's really hard to do, especially if you do it after an expo, like in terms of a macro game. So is it general? I mean, is it viable? Is it generally viable? No, but you can mess around with that composition and have some pretty interesting timings. But just in general, I don't think it's good. You have to be, you have to have the build has to be really good, has to be versus something specific, and you have to be sure the other players and actually playing standard.
Okay, so we got one more question. I think this will be the last question, and we'll do some shout-outs after that. It says, what do you do against Zerg that mass lings with upgrade and expands? The combination of lots of lings and upgrades and their mobility. Which just seems to be the kind of the popular thing to do nowadays.
Well,
yeah.
Yeah,
could you repeat? Sorry.
Yeah.
What do you do against mass lings with upgrades and expands in in TvZ?
So Stefano style?
Yeah, very Stefano style, I think.
Okay. Well, drops are pretty good. They're like few timings. Like if you know it's doing that, like if I'm playing Nercho or Stefano, that they do this like every time. You can actually abuse it. Like you can expand and just go for double start of Banshee into normal game.
Mm. Yeah.
And like when you get 6 Banshees, you're just going to kill so much and get super ahead. If you don't know that you're going for links, just try to keep up with the upgrades. And there will be a point where it will be 2-2, and they are 3-3 with ultras. That's the most dangerous point because if your Maris are not 3-3 and the ultras are fully upgraded, you are not gonna win a fight ever. So like you have to camp until you're fully upgraded. Then then you can start pushing again. Um, yeah, drops become really effective against links, especially after mid game when the Zerg is really focused on being aggressive and like taking position. Then you drops become more and more effective. So you just abuse the fact that he has like way less map control without mutants, and try to make the most out of it.
Also, I just want to add really quick.
Sure.
I think what's really important is you have to also keep your Hellions alive if you're playing, a standard build order. There are a lot of builds that you can do that abuse the build, as Cloud said, that abuse Massling and Festerling, and drops are really good. But I see a lot of Terran players that in the early game, with their 4 Hellions, their 6 Hellions that they use the Expo, they just play really carelessly with them, just run them by Sunkens, run them by, try and kill drones, and just trade their Hellions for drones, or they just carelessly lose them to Lings because they weren't paying attention. I think you have to be really careful with your Hellions because the Hellions are what allow you to put some pressure on this type of build earlier in the game, and you should never try and commit really early to that build against that build because a lot of Lings, there are a lot of Lings and they can just kill you. But you have to also be careful because the hive timing is really quick, is really early. The ultra timing is really early. So you have to be really careful with how you play it out in that situation.
Okay, great. Well, that kind of concludes the Q&A portion, guys. I think we're going to just end the show with some plugs and shout-outs. So why don't we start with you, Cloud? Any shout-outs you have?
Yeah, I would like to thank everybody watching, and yeah, my team. But yeah, that's pretty much all. I mean, lately I've been well, not lately. I've been kind of shaky last year, uh, but right now I'm practicing hard and I'm doing pretty okay right now. So I think like I'm gonna do very well at this DreamHack, and I'm going to be at MLG later this year as well. So yeah, I hope people will follow me and yeah, cheer for me when I play at MLG.
Yeah, that'd be awesome to see you there. And that'll be your first time, right? Have you played in any
Yeah,
American tournaments?
everybody say it's great,
Yeah.
and my team like wants to send me, but I always feel like when you go to MLG, like it's like the most important tournament,
Wow,
like
that's cool.
outside Korea. So
That's cool that you think that.
if you don't feel in great shape, then you shouldn't go there.
Right.
I wouldn't want to go there from Europe to not play my best. So
Yeah.
that was why I never went to MLG so far.
Yeah, that's what sponsors and teams like to hear. Like players not wasting money. You know what I mean? Like I think that's I think
But
that's
it's
valid.
not about just money. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, you don't want to. Yeah, I get it. I totally get it. I understand what you
But
mean.
you shouldn't just travel to have fun. I mean, this is still a job,
Mhm.
at least for me and other people. So you have to take it seriously, and yeah,
Yeah.
that's all.
Awesome. Yeah, definitely follow Cloud on Twitter. It's at CloudSE2, right? I believe.
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah, definitely follow him on Twitter. And do you stream, Cloud?
yeah. I stream a lot.
Okay. Yeah,
Uh,
I thought you did. I just what's the link to your Twitch?
yeah, it's aTnCloud. It's like
Okay,
uh,
so Twitch TV, aTnCloud.
yeah.
There you go. I just linked it, guys. Awesome. Yeah. Thanks again for being on here for the first time. And Mihai, you have any shout outs and plugs you want to
Yeah.
do? Yep.
Well, I want to shout out the Cookie Monster Cloud for being on here with me.
Thank you.
I want to shout out ChanmanV for having me on, of course.
Yes, no problem.
It's a great show. Too bad there aren't that many viewers, but I'm sure it'll
that's all
grow.
good.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
fine. I also want to shout out Team NrG. Been rocking it since Brood War. And yeah, that's about it. I don't really have sponsors right now, so I don't need to PR at all.
Yeah, but Twitter.
I have a Twitter, but I don't really use it
Okay.
anymore.
Okay.
And it's like spam, then I have to remake it, blah, blah, blah. So
Cool.
you just look out for me. You can't follow me right now. But thanks to all the viewers, of course, for tuning in.
Yeah. Well, thank you too. Definitely Mihai for kind of stepping in last second too. Again, I know a lot of you guys
anytime.
were expecting Hash to be on, and Mihai stepped in just last second. So I really, really appreciate that. And Team NrG is a team that a lot of people don't really know about actually. So you guys have a lot of good players. So check out Team NrG guys, and a lot of the other teams.